Right. So setting your neutral as you're lying down on the back or you're sitting on the chair, try to find your comfortable position. If you're lying down, the knees bent or the legs are straight, entirely up to you, whatever feels more comfortable for the lower back and the hips. The arms relaxing down the side. Again, if you're lying down, encouraging the palms to turn and face up and towards the ceiling. So see if you can really feel the shoulders are rolling out and then dropping into the floor, dropping into the mat. The upper body is nice and relaxed, so the shoulders are down. If I'm seated, I'm trying to sit up the best way I can. And then focusing on the breath, the ones that you feel that the body's settled, see if you can try and encourage that belly breath. So instead of that panic breath that is coming from the top of the chest, to see if I can allow the breath and the body to calm down, encouraging the breath to drop down into the belly. So feeling the belly expanding on the inhale and then relaxing on the exhale. Noticing how the body feels. If you're lying down on the floor, using the floor to feel the pressure at the back of the shoulders, at the back of the hips, at the back of the head. If I'm seated, just noticing the pressure between my right and my left seat bone. Noticing the position of the shoulders, the head. I might find that my head is slightly off to one side. One shoulder feels slightly forward to the other. I'm not changing anything, just noticing where the body is and how it feels at this moment. Then once you feel that the body is nice and settled, then start focusing on the neck first. I'm going to start turning the head gently from one side to the other. See if I can encourage that movement into the neck. Same as usual, I'm not forcing anything, so I'm not trying too hard. I'm just going to try and see how far I can go to the right, how far I can go to the left. And then as you keep the movement going, just to see if you can play with the position of the head. So if I push the shoulders a little bit further down and away, it encourages the neck to lengthen a little bit more. If I'm trying to picture lengthening from the crown of the head, it lengthens the neck a little bit more. So I might actually be able to find a little extra space and then move the head a little bit better from one to the other side. 4, 3, 2, 1, and ease and back to the middle. Then from rotation, I'm going to go into little flexion extension. So I'm going to tuck the chin towards the chest to see if I can think of lengthening the back of the neck. If you're seated, allowing the head to come forward to see if I can really try to create a gentle stretch down the neck. If you're lying down, think of pressing the back of the neck flat against the floor, flat against the mat. Then I'm going to reverse. I'm going to lift the chin up and away. See if I can encourage a nice gentle stretch down the front of the throat into the front of the neck. And then I'm going to ease back. Tucking the chin in, pressing the back of the neck gently into the mat. And then lifting up, opening up at the front, lengthening to the front of the throat, to the front of the neck. And then trying that again. So keeping the movement going, just making sure that especially on lifting the chin up, so as you're going into extension, nothing is pinching on the neck, and there is no sudden pain shooting down the arms or tingling into the fingers. The arms feel relaxed and the neck feels relaxed. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, returning the head back to the middle. It's a little bit more movement. I'm going to try and see if I can vary that movement. Imagine a pencil strapped to the tip of the nose. I'm going to start drawing circles with that pencil in front of me. So I'm going to start with a little circle and then progressively see if I can make the circle a little bit bigger, but making sure that nothing is suddenly catching grinding into the neck. A little bit of a clicking, it's okay, as far as there is no pain with that clicking. 3, 2, 1. Then I'm going to draw the circle the other way. Noticing any difference. One side might be feeling a little bit stiffer. The stretch through the neck might be slightly different, right and left side. 3, 2, last one, and releasing back. Returning the head back to the middle, resetting the shoulders, and then from the neck, I'm just going to start moving through the upper back. Starting with a little flexion extension, I'm going to place a hand down onto the chair, onto the legs if I feel that I need a little support. If I'm lying down, just using the mat to support, I'm going to push the chest forward. So I'm going to try and stick the chest forward as much as I can, and then I'm going to try and lift it up and towards the ceiling. As if somebody had the hands around at the top of my ribcage and was trying to lift me up. Then I'm just going to ease my way forward, ease my way down, and then trying again. Retracting the shoulders, squeezing the shoulders back, see if I can push the chest forward and then lift it at the same time. And then I'm going to ease back. So trying to encourage a little bit more movement into the thoracic spine and the top of the spine. It could be a very little one, it could be a very big one. It doesn't matter as far as it's not causing pain. I'm just trying to mobilize it through the back, mobilize it through the spine. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back. Releasing the back, I've got a little bit more lift, a little bit more space at the front. This time I'm going to try and see if I can get a little rotation going. So again, holding onto the chair, raising the arms up to the front. If I'm, especially if I'm lying down on the back, I'm going to start rotating. Swing the arms to one side, I'm going to rotate to the right, easing my way back to the middle, and then swinging the arms to the left, rotating to the left. So keeping the rotation going. If you're sitting on the chair, think of lifting up through the middle and then turning to the side. Then I'm going to come back, I'm going to refresh that lifting, and then I'm going to try and rotate to the other way. If you're down on the floor, the spine is lengthening down the mat. So see if you can think of just a nice, gentle reach from side to side, rolling from one shoulder over to the other. 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, releasing the arms and relaxing the shoulders. It's a little bit more movement. The same as I did for the neck, I'm going to try and play with the 4 different directions. So if you're on your back, raising the arms up, and then these arms, instead of just moving them side to side, I'm going to circle them round. So I'm going to go round and around with the arms. So rolling from one shoulder to the other, extending into the back and dropping down, trying to create the biggest movement you can. If I'm sitting up, I'm going to do the same. But so imagine to have a light shining right from the middle of the chest. What I want is with that light is to try and draw circles in front of me. So I'm going to rotate to slightly extend, rotate the other way. So see if I can try and vary the movement just a little bit more. See if I can encourage more movement, a different direction through the spine. The same as you've been doing so far, making sure that nothing is catching is causing pain. And I'm going to reverse the circles. I'm going to circle around the other way. It's a nice big swing with the arms if I'm lying down on the back. Nice lift and movement from the chest and the upper back if I'm sitting up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back. Relaxing the shoulders and releasing the upper back. It's a little bit more movement at the top. I'm going to try and see if I can focus on the lower back at this time. Starting off just with a little pelvic tilt. So I'm going to let myself roll back onto the back of the seat bone. So I'm going to really slouch and drop on the chair, pressing the lower back into the mat if I'm lying down. And then I'm going to try and, almost as if I was trying to stick the bum back, I'm going to lift myself up to see if I can bring myself back up onto the seat bone. So I'm going to drop down into flexion and then trying to come forward into extension. So if you're seated, there is effort required as I've got the weight of the shoulders, the head and the arms on top of the hips. So I will have to use some effort to create that little tilt. If you're lying down, because everything is resting against the mat, then what I want is the least amount of effort. As I don't have to hold my rib cage, I don't have to hold my shoulders and my arms, just to see if I can create a nice loose movement, just down into the lower back. Just tilting the pelvis back, coming forward, tilting back, coming forward. So feeling that little movement down at the bottom of the spine, especially if the lower back feels a bit stiff, a bit tight. See if I can try and ease some of the tension, some of the stiffness away. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and ease and back. And then returning the back into neutral, and then from forward flexion, I'm going to move into lateral flexion. So if you're lying down on the back, I'm just going to start hitching the pelvis from side to side. So I'm going to hitch my right hip up, hitch my left, hitch my right, hitch my left. If I'm seated, I'm just trying to focus on one bum cheek. So I'm going to try and hitch one hip up to see if I can try and pull the bum cheek off the chair, then come back and then hitch up on the other side, and then hitch up on the other side, and then hitch up on the other side. So see if I can create that little side to side movement. I'm feeling a little bit more tension coming from the side of the hip, from the side of the belly, to create that little rocking side to side. If you're lying down on the back, exactly the same, as the hips will be staying flat against the floor. It's just a little bit of movement to side. So feeling the right side of the belly, pulling the right hip up towards the rib cage, feeling that left side of the belly, pulling that left hip up towards the rib cage. So just a little wiggle side to side. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last time, and releasing back. Releasing the hips, so releasing the back. It's just a little bit more movement into the lower back. I'm going to drop down into the hips. So this time I'm trying to work into the hip joint. So if you're lying down on the back, okay, lean the right leg up and towards you, and then using the hands or using the band at the back of the leg to support the leg. If I'm sitting up, again, I can use my hands, or if I need to lean forward a little bit too much, I might just want to use the band around the back of the leg. And then picking up the right leg, I'm just going to start gently moving it into the hip socket. So imagine your femur, the top of the leg, to be like a spoon. I'm just trying to turn the spoon into the ball, starting with a little movement, just a nice loose one, making sure that it's not creating grinding, pinching or pain. And then progressively, if I can, I'm going to try and get into a bigger movement, especially as I'm lying down, as I've got a little bit more space to move that leg. So see if I can imagine my pelvis like a bowl, and then the leg like the spoon. So I'm going to turn the spoon into the ball. If I can find a nice loose circle with that leg. 3, 2, and then I'm going to reverse the circle going the other way. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, relaxing the leg, adjusting the hip. I'm going to do the same thing with the left side. It's the same as before. If I'm lying down, I'm going to pick up the left leg, supporting with a hand or with a strap. If I'm sitting up, exactly the same. Think of it just a slightly smaller movement, but still see if I can try and get some movement into the hip joint. So it might be just a little side to side and then a very small up and down. See if I can try and relax. So see if I can lubricate the joint, encouraging movement into the hip. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then reversing the circle, going the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And releasing back, releasing the hip. So just a little bit more movement into the hip joint. The hip is a little bit warmer. I'm going to try and see if I can start focusing a little bit more into the muscles around the hip. So starting with the inner thigh, put the pillow, the ball between the knees. If you don't have one, you can use your hands. So you can just put the fist, one fist or both fists in there. And then shuffling the feet nice and close together. I'm just going to start to squeezing into the pillow, squeezing into the ball. So I'm going to press in and then ease the pressure, press in and then ease the pressure. So see if I can squeeze it tight and release it slightly, squeeze tight and release it slightly. So making sure that I don't relax too much, that the pillow, the ball drops each time. I should be able to keep it tucked in. And then as you keep that squeeze going, see if you can be aware of the tension through the inner thigh. So I can feel my inner thigh tensing. If I'm not sure, I can pop my hands in there. And then as I press into the ball, I can feel them tensing. One might be feeling a little bit stronger than the other. One might be kind of like more, effective than the other. I'm always going to focus on the weaker side. See if I can try and find a little bit more connection through the side, keeping the hand there to give me a little bit more of a feedback, kind of like the brain to be able to find that muscle and then see if I can try and connect it to that muscle a little bit better, a little bit more. Once that I feel that the tension is a little bit more even, so it's as good as it gets, then I'm going to keep the same, but I want to try and squeeze faster. So I'm just going to squeeze and 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 squeeze. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Pushing the ball to one side. Giving the legs a little rub, a little shake. So there's a little bit more connection through the inside of the leg. I'm going to try and see if I can get a little bit more connection through the front of the hip or front of the leg. So this time I'm going to start going for a little knee lift. So I'm going to pull the right knee up and towards the chest. Then I'm going to ease the knee, the foot back down. And then same thing to the other side. If you're sitting up or Or if you're lying down and you find that the leg has got a mind of its own, so it doesn't want to lift or suddenly goes really straight, then use again the band around the back of the leg or the hands at the back of the leg to encourage that lift. So see if you can find the connection into the front of the hip. See if I can encourage that muscle to switch on, to turn on. So I might even be able to lift that leg and then try to hold it there for a split second before I let it drop again. And then I'm just going to lift it again, trying to hold it there for a split second before I let it drop again. So whichever works the best for you to help you feel and connect a little bit better into the psoas, into your hip flexors there. 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, allowing the hip a little rest, relaxing the arms if they've been helping to lift the leg. I'm going to do the same thing, lifting the other side. If you were alternating the legs, keep alternating. So exactly the same to the other side. I'm going to hook the band, hook the hands around the leg if I need to, and then I'm going to try and pull that foot up. Then I'm going to ease back, and then again I'm going to try and pull it up, and then ease back. And then just noticing the differences. So the other side might have felt a bit easier, this side feels a bit heavier, a bit more disconnected. Again, see if I can think of the front of the hip closing. So see if I can find that tension deep into the hip joint to allow me to close the hip. And then I'm just going to ease back. Using the hands to help me encourage that movement, and then easing back down again. So same as on the other side, using whichever way works the best. So lifting the leg up slightly, see if I can try and hold it there for a split second, and then I'm just going to let it drop. And then again, I'm going to lift it slightly, trying to hold it for a split second, and then I'm going to let it drop again. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. So hopefully a little bit more connection at the front of the hip. This time I want a little bit more connection, but I want it into the back of the hips, the back of the bone. So if you're lying down on the back, I want to extend the legs away. So the legs are nice and straight down the mat. We're going to start off with a little glute squeeze, working in isolation. So think of your right and your left bum cheek. I'm going to try and clench my right bum cheek and then relax it, clench the left and relax. Clench the right, relax, clench the left, relax. So if you're sitting, it should be feeling as if you're kind of like bouncing from one side to the other as you're clenching and clenching and clenching and clenching. If you're lying down on the back, you should be feeling as if your hips are rocking gently from one side to the other as you're tensing one side, as you're tensing the other. You might find that you don't seem to be isolated. So when you clench, you're clenching both. Fine. Just keep clenching both, just to see if you can be aware of any difference between the right and the left side, making sure that the tension is the same on both sides. So I'm going to clench, release, clench, and release. If you're happy that the tension is good, then I want you to start clenching with both sides at the same time. So I'm going to clench both bum cheeks together and relax, and then clench both together and relax, and clench both together and relax, and clench both together and relax. So again, if I'm sitting, I feel myself now bouncing up and down in the middle. If I'm lying down, I can feel my hips are going up and down as I clench and release. 5, 4, 3, 2. On the last one, I want you to clench, hold the tension into the bum, and then focus on the belly. I want you to take a 6 deep belly breath. So keep clenching, breathing into the belly for 1, 2. Keep clenching, keep clenching, keep clenching. 3, 4, keep clenching, 5, nice and deep into the belly, nothing in the chest, 6, and relax. Relaxing the hips or releasing the bum. We're going to try and see if we can go a little bit deeper. So if you're lying down on the back, I want you to bend the knees, walking the feet back up and towards the hips. If I'm sitting up, the legs are going to stay in the same position, maybe trying to bring the feet a little bit closer to the chair. So if I'm lying down on the back, I'm going to squeeze with the back of the bum, pushing down through the soles of the feet, and then I'm going to try and lift up into bridge. So I'm going to try and lift my hips up and towards the ceiling. If I'm sitting on the chair, I'm going to clench through the bum and push down through the soles of the feet, and then imagine to be lifting off the chair, and then I'm going to ease back. So as if I was going to try and stand off, and then I'm just going to release back. So think of that drive coming from the hips, using the hands, again, to give a little help, a little support if I need to do so. We'll see if I can try and think of that little squeeze to help me go up, to help me lift. If you're down on the back and lifting up, as high up as it feels comfortable for your back, for your hips, so it could be a very little lift, it could be a slightly bigger one. It doesn't matter, just as far as you feel that you've got a good control up and down, that's all we want. 4, so squeeze into lift. 3, 2, last one, and release it down, giving the legs a little walk, giving the legs a little shake, allowing the back of the leg to release. I'm going to give the back of the leg a little bit of a stretch. So if you're lying down on the back, if you're sitting down, you're just trying to put the strap around the right foot, and then I'm just going to gently start pulling the leg towards me until I can feel a little stretch going down the back of the leg. If you're sitting on the chair and you find that it's very heavy to lift that leg, so I'm struggling to get that lift, so I'm struggling to feel the stretch, then I'm going to try and straighten out the leg, and then I'm just going to lean forward into the leg until I can feel a little bit of a stretch going down the back. 5, 4, 3, 2, deep breath in. As you breathe out, to see if you can go a little bit deeper. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release and back, and easing the leg back and relaxing the leg. I'm going to try the same thing to the other side. So straightening up the leg in front of you, easing forward if that works for you. Lifting the leg up if that feels okay. If you're lying down on the back, straightening up the leg as much as you can, and then gently pulling it towards you until you can feel that stretch down the back of the leg. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, deep breath in. As you breathe out, to see if you can go a little bit deeper. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and ease it back. Releasing the hip, releasing the leg. This is a little bit more length at the back of the leg. We're going to move into the side of the hip. So if you're lying down on the back, I want you to roll over onto the side and then setting yourself into side line for climb. So the knees are bent, the legs are together, the head is supported, the back is straight. I'm going to keep the feet together, and then I'm going to start squeezing the leg up and then dropping it back. If I'm seated on the chair, I still want the tension into the side of the hip the side of the bum. So I'm going to put the hand onto the side of one knee, and then what I want is I want to push the knee into the hand. So I'm going to try and push out into the hand. Then I'm going to come back, and then again I'm going to push out into the hand, and then coming back. So see if I can be aware of the tension coming from the side of the hip or from the side of the bum. So I want the leg to open, and then I'm going to ease back. I want the leg to open, and then I'm going to ease back. If I want to make it harder, I'm going to push a little bit harder with the hand. If I want to make it easier, I'm just going to keep it like a gentle push. And then again, I'm not expecting a massive movement, no matter if you're lying down on the side, if you're seated. What I want is just picture a nice tension that goes from the side of the knee all the way up into the side of the hip. See if I can get that tension to open the leg. And then I might push it back in with my hand, and then pushing it out again. 3, 2, last one, and releasing back. Relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. I'm going to try exactly the same thing onto the other side. So rolling over onto the other side if you're lying down, setting the same position. The knees are together, one leg on top of the other, the head is supported. I'm going to keep my feet closed, and then trying to open the other knee out to the side, and then bringing it back. If I'm seated, exactly the same. Popping the hand onto the side of the knee, I'm going to push out into the hand, and then I'm just going to ease back. Push out into the hand, and then I'm going to ease back. So again, picture that band coming down the side of the leg into the side of the hip. See if I can keep that band working to create a little abduction, a little opening to the side. And then these legs might feel very heavy very quickly, especially as you're lying down on the side, as you've got to lift the weight of the leg. So it might fatigue quicker. The movement might start becoming a little bit smaller. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to try and keep it going for as long as I can. If I needed to stop and have a rest, I'm just going to stop and have a rest. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back. Relaxing the hips, so releasing the leg. We're going to give a little stretch down the side of the hip. So if you're on your back, lying down on your back, extending one leg away along the floor, bring the other leg up and towards you, and then pulling it across the front of the body. If I'm seated, if I can lift the leg, I'm going to lift and cross the leg over, and then pull it across that way. If I find that the leg is too stiff to lift, then I'm just going to push both legs off to the side, and then turning the other way. See if I can create a gentle stretch down the side of the hip into the side of the leg. If you're on your back, remember, if I take the leg too far and my bum starts lifting too far away from the ground, the stretch tends to go into the back. So if I keep the bum a little bit closer to the floor and just pull the leg, the stretch tends to stay into the hip, into the leg. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Releasing the leg down, relaxing the hip. I'm going to try the same thing to the other side. So if I'm lying down, I'm going to bring the leg up. Opposite hand goes to the leg. I'm going to pull the leg across the front of the body. See if I can get the stretch down the side of the hip into the side of the bum. If I'm seated up, if I can lift the leg, I'm going to cross one over the other, same as before. Or I'm just going to push both to the side. If I can still get a little bit of a stretch coming down the side of the hip. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back. Returning the legs back to the middle, giving the inner thighs a little bit of a stretch, keeping the feet nice and close together. I'm going to let the knees open out and away from each other. So I'm going to let them drop out if I'm lying down. If I'm seated, I'm going to use my hands to create a little bit more tension. So I'm going to push the knees out just slightly with the hands, just to see if I can get a gentle stretch going into the inner thighs, from the groin towards the inside of the legs. I'm going to try and push them out gently. See if I can maybe go a little bit deeper. If you're lying down on the back and you feel that the legs are quite comfortable, nothing seems to be pinching or catching into the hip, into the side of the hip or side of the bum, then you can do the same. Reaching the hands on the inside of the leg, applying a gentle pressure down. See if I can encourage a little bit more stretch into the inner thigh. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, squeezing the legs all the way back in, adjusting the hips, adjusting the legs, and then trying to work a little bit into the shoulders, into the arms. So one arm at a time, I'm going to start raising the right arm up and towards the ceiling, and then reaching the arm behind. Then bring the arm back. With the left, I'm going to do the same. If you're sitting up, if you can create a nice and easy lift on the shoulder, then go for the lift. If you find that they're taking the arm up, or because of the position, I'm a bit flexed forward, I'm a bit hunched forward, so I can feel quite a lot of tension going into the neck. Instead of going up, imagine to be reaching something that is up on a top shelf. So I'm just going to go through, see if I can try and lift it through the chest, and lift it with the arm, see if I can get to the top shelf, and then I'm going to release down. Then with the other arm, I'm going to do the same, see if I can get to the top shelf, and then easing back down. So see if I can encourage a little bit more lift into the back, and to allow the arm to be able to reach just a little bit further, but without creating that massive tension into the neck. If you're lying down, making sure that the arm reaches to the back, the shoulder is not suddenly pinching, clicking, or grinding. And then once that I'm happy that the movement starts feeling a little bit easier, starts feeling a little bit looser, then I'm going to try both arms together. So I'm going to reach both arms up, and then I'm going to take them both down. Same as you're doing with the single arm, especially on the chair. See if I can try and encourage the chest to lift, so I've got a little bit more space to get the arms and the front of the body to lift and open up. Then I'm going to release, and then again, see if I can try and lift and open up. 5, extending through. 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back. Giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, it's a little bit more movement into the shoulders, a little bit more movement into the arm. I'm going to change the direction of the movement one more time. Instead of going for a straight reach to the front, this time I'm going to go out to the side. So I'm going to swing the right arm out to the side, and then bringing it back the same way. I'm going to swing the left to the side, and then bringing it back the other way. So think of a nice wave with the right arm coming back, and a nice wave with the left arm. The same as you did for the front raise, making sure that the arm is coming around, nothing seems to be clonking or catching in the shoulder, so I'm not creating pain. I'm trying to loosen up the shoulder joint. I'm trying to free the shoulder, encouraging the arm to go into a better, easier movement each time. And then same as I did for the front raise. Once that I feel that the swing feels a little bit lighter, a little bit easier, then I'm going to try and go both arms at the same time. So it's a nice big wave with both, and then easing back. Lifting through the chest, and then dropping back if you're seated. Keeping the shoulders nice and loose if you're lying down on the back. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing down. Relaxing the shoulders, releasing the back, and giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, little jiggle, making sure that the neck doesn't feel stiff, it doesn't feel tight. And then when you're ready, if you're lying down on the back and rolling over onto the side, slowly pushing yourself up into sitting. Finding your comfortable seated position, legs in front, legs underneath, and making sure that I can sit reasonably upright, using the hands behind to offer a little support if I feel that I'm a bit too far backwards. And then when you're ready, extending through the back. So I'm going to try and lift the breastbone up and towards the ceiling. I'm going to look forward, I'm going to look up, I'm going to try and look behind. And then I'm just going to release, letting the chin drop, letting the shoulders come forward. I'm going to allow myself to drop forward, to drop it down and twist the legs. And then I'm curling back up again. Lifting through the chest, looking forward, looking up, looking back. And then release and dropping forward, rounding the back. Allowing yourself to come forward. Last time. Extending up, sending the breastbone up and towards the ceiling, extending your way through, extending your way up, and then releasing back. One hand to the belly, one hand to the back. Take your back, give yourself a couple of them. Any question or anything, please say. Remember, you need to unmute yourself.